making her first public statement about the very clear hypocrisy of releasing new images like that, which we just saw on Instagram, while claiming to be the hero for protecting children from social media.
Meghan Markle is facing a fresh round of attention online, and this time the focus is on a set of newly shared photos. What was meant to be a simple birthday tribute for Princess Lilibet has quickly turned into a major discussion across social media. Users have been examining the images Meghan posted to mark her daughter's 5th birthday, with many sharing different opinions about what they noticed. And the conversation keeps growing.
At 5 years old, Meghan Markle has realised that that poor young girl is the best way for her to make money. So that's why she's defending the fact that she's going to keep going online with these weird sort of half shots, the hearts.
Why are some people saying the photos look different from previous images? Why are online commentators comparing older pictures with the newer ones? And why has a family birthday post sparked such a strong reaction across social platforms? The debate gained momentum shortly after Meghan shared several birthday photos on Instagram. Almost immediately, people began placing the new images side by side with pictures released in the past.
A lot of people are not buying the pictures either. I want to show you this from According to Taz, who writes, "Sorry, but the ever-changing hair color and ever-changing size of their children is what causes so many conspiracy theories."
Some pointed out differences they believed they noticed, while others suggested that editing, lighting, camera angles, or image quality could be playing a role in the discussion. At this point, the story has moved well beyond an ordinary birthday post. Some critics say every new photo seems to bring fresh questions. Supporters argue that Meghan is simply sharing personal family moments while still maintaining a level of privacy. Either way, the images are receiving an extraordinary amount of attention, with people analyzing every detail more closely than ever before. And that's exactly why this latest post has become one of the most talked about royal stories of the week. So what are people noticing in these photos?
Children are no longer just participants in digital spaces. They are too often the product.
Why are older images suddenly being revisited? And how did a birthday celebration become the center of such a widespread online discussion involving the Sussex family? Let's break it down. Before looking at the images themselves, it's important to understand why this story gained so much traction in the first place. The timing played a major role. Just days before sharing the birthday photos, Meghan spoke publicly about social media, online safety, and the importance of protecting young people in the digital world.
Now, my position on this is very clear. I think there's nothing wrong with parents sharing their children online. But remember, Prince Harry has called it evil. He has attacked parents who are doing exactly what you are doing.
Those comments drew attention because conversations about privacy and online exposure continue to be widely debated across many countries. We've already covered Meghan's appearance in Geneva and discussed that speech in a previous video on the channel. If you haven't seen it yet, be sure to check it out after this video. You should also see it recommended on your screen when this video ends. In short, Meghan discussed the challenges people can face online, how digital platforms influence everyday life, and the responsibility adults have when helping create safer online spaces. Under normal circumstances, those remarks may not have generated much controversy.
Share photos of her children on Instagram while criticizing social media. Telling Newsweek, do you buy this? There is a distinction between sharing moments from her life and exposing her children to public scrutiny. Now, this statement came because they knew what was coming. They knew that Lily's 5th birthday was going to be an opportunity for Meghan to make more money.
However, shortly after those comments, Meghan shared a new collection of birthday photos celebrating Princess Lilibet turning 5. And that's when the online reaction really took off. For some observers, the discussion wasn't really about Meghan sharing family photos. Instead, they felt there was a contrast between her recent public comments and the way these images were being shared online. As the photos spread across news sites and social media, people began debating whether the situation matched the message she had been promoting. What started as a simple post soon opened the door to a much wider conversation. And before long, the focus shifted away from privacy and landed somewhere completely different: the photos themselves. That's where the story took an unexpected turn. What should have been a straightforward birthday celebration quickly became one of the most discussed topics online. Rather than talking about Lilibet's 5th birthday, many users were talking about the images. Almost immediately after the photos were posted, people began comparing them with pictures that had appeared over the past year. Side-by-side comparisons started showing up across X, YouTube, Instagram, and royal discussion communities.
Trying to control everything about a story. And it will bite her later when they get bigger. You most guarantee that will absolutely happen. We've seen it with celebrities now.
According to some online commentators, certain details appeared different from one image to another. One of the biggest talking points involved how Lilibet appeared across various photographs. Commentators compared the latest birthday pictures with older family images and promotional content previously shared by Meghan. Some users felt there were noticeable differences between the photos, which led to renewed discussion about image presentation and photography choices. The conversation became so popular that several royal commentators created entire videos discussing the comparisons. Then an older online debate suddenly returned. Many users pointed to a previously shared photo featuring balloons that had already attracted attention months earlier.
We should not accept a digital one either.
But Meghan Markle, are you seriously saying, despite that rhetoric, that your 5-year-old daughter is giving you permission to share her image for money?
At the time, some viewers questioned whether the image had undergone significant editing. They highlighted small details they believed looked unusual when closely examined. Those claims were never confirmed, but the discussion continued to circulate online. Now, following the release of the latest birthday photos, that same image is once again being shared and discussed. Some critics are revisiting older screenshots, zooming in on specific areas, and suggesting that the newest images have reignited similar conversations. And that's when the discussion became even more intense. Another image that drew attention was an older outdoor family photo. Online users placed it alongside the newly released birthday pictures and began discussing differences they believed they noticed.
How can she be smaller now at age 5 than she was a year ago climbing Mama Mountain? They are playing games, and I think even using AI to manipulate images.
Some commentators suggested that appearance could vary between the images. Others pointed out that factors such as camera angles, lighting, distance, posture, and perspective can often make photographs look very different from one another. But once those comparisons began spreading, the conversation took on a momentum of its own. The internet did what it often does. People started examining every little detail.
These children have moments where they look completely different in their sizes and the color of their hair. I think what Meghan is doing is trying to control a narrative, but failing miserably at it.
Hair became a topic of discussion. Height became a topic of discussion. Clothing became a topic of discussion. Even background details became a topic of discussion. What started as a birthday tribute was quickly turning into a massive online debate, with countless people offering their own theories and observations. And whether those theories were correct or not almost stopped being the main story, because the bigger story became the reaction itself. The more limited the public view appeared to be, the more intensely people seemed to examine every new image that was shared. Several critics argued that this approach may be having the opposite effect of what was intended.
And it's obvious they are heavily photoshopped and often badly, hence the little girl's hand melting into the balloon strings. Harry is creating more speculation over his children than what was ever said about Hewitt and his DNA, and this will backfire on his children as they grow older.
Their reasoning is straightforward. If the goal is greater privacy, regularly sharing carefully chosen photos may not reduce public curiosity. According to these critics, it may actually increase it. Every new image becomes a headline. Every new image becomes a talking point. Every new image becomes something people feel compelled to study and discuss. And that seems to be exactly what happened here. Supporters of Meghan see the situation very differently, however. They argue that she is trying to balance sharing personal moments with maintaining boundaries around her family's private life. They also point out that identifying details are often limited and that she has generally avoided the level of exposure seen with some other public figures and their families. But critics remain unconvinced. Some argue that if privacy is the main priority, then sharing fewer images would naturally lead to less public attention.
When these children do grow up and they get bigger, they're going to see the manipulation that their mother is doing. They're going to call their mother out later in life.
Others believe that releasing photos while keeping many details private creates a situation where public curiosity continues to grow rather than fade, and that criticism has become increasingly common over the past year. In fact, many reactions to the latest birthday photos were not focused on the birthday itself. Instead, much of the conversation centered on Meghan's overall approach to sharing family content online. Comment sections quickly filled with debates about privacy, consistency, publicity, and public perception. Some users defended Meghan. Others argued that the messaging felt inconsistent.
By obscuring their faces, she is demonstrating the very principle she advocates for, giving children privacy, agency, and protection in an increasingly digital world.
Before long, the discussion had expanded far beyond a simple birthday celebration. What makes this particularly notable is that none of the attention was tied to a major royal event, a public engagement, or an official announcement. It was centered almost entirely on a collection of photographs. That's how much interest these images generated. As the discussion continued spreading, attention began turning toward whether Meghan's team would address the growing criticism. By that point, the debate was no longer limited to social media users sharing comparisons. Major publications were covering the reaction. Royal commentators were discussing it regularly, and more people were wondering whether an official response would follow. As it turns out, a response was on the way. According to reports, Meghan's team decided to address the criticism directly by explaining why they believe sharing selected family moments does not conflict with maintaining personal privacy.
And she's been criticized even in this Newsweek article. And that's what's fascinating. Remember, Meghan has given Newsweek the statement directly to try and sort of dampen down the criticism, but it hasn't worked because Jack Royston goes on to say, based on her spokesperson's statement to Newsweek, Meghan appears to be inclined to double down rather than back down over the images.
But as we're about to see, that explanation sparked an entirely new round of discussion. As the conversation continued to grow, it became increasingly clear that Meghan's team was aware of the public reaction. Then came the response. According to reports, Meghan's representatives provided a statement explaining why they believe there is a distinction between sharing family moments online and inviting broader public scrutiny. The statement was provided to Newsweek and quickly became a major talking point among royal commentators and online audiences alike. According to the statement, Meghan has always been clear that there is a difference between sharing personal moments and placing family members in the public spotlight.
Now, what's interesting is that it's only really the likes of Town and Country and InStyle, really the propagandists, that are going along with Meghan's defense of her decision to share these pictures on Instagram.
The explanation argued that obscuring identifying features reflects the same privacy principles she has discussed when speaking about online safety and digital boundaries. The statement also said that limiting identifiable details helps protect privacy, personal choice, and long-term digital footprints in an increasingly connected world. In other words, Meghan's position appears to be that family experiences can be shared while still maintaining certain boundaries online. On paper, that sounds fairly straightforward, but the public reaction was far more complicated. Critics quickly questioned whether the explanation fully addressed the concerns being discussed online. According to many commentators, the debate was never solely about whether faces were visible. Instead, the discussion centered on how often family-related content appeared on Meghan's social media accounts. And that's where another detail began attracting attention. Several reports noted that a number of Meghan's Instagram posts this year have included family moments and personal milestones.
It shows how Meghan is not really willing to have any sacrifice in her life. You know, it's always this compromise or an excuse to make it okay because she doesn't want to have to feel like she's being oppressed to do what she wants to do. So she's going to find...
Examples frequently mentioned included holiday celebrations, birthdays, outdoor activities, travel moments, and content connected to various projects. Critics argued that this larger pattern made it difficult to view the latest birthday photos as a completely separate issue. From their perspective, the discussion had grown beyond a single post. It had become part of a broader conversation about social media sharing habits, and that's why the statement did little to slow the debate. For some observers, it had the opposite effect. The response itself became a major talking point. Royal commentators began asking whether Meghan's explanation directly addressed the criticism or simply shifted the focus of the conversation. Because while the statement emphasized privacy, critics continued focusing on public visibility. Those are two very different discussions.
She is highlighting these children constantly and putting them out there front and center to say, look at my children. That's what she is saying. And trying to also say they are mysterious, aren't they? Because when they write, look at the adorable pictures that Meghan shared of her children. That's laughable.
One side argues that limiting identifying details helps maintain privacy. The other side argues that regularly sharing family-related content naturally attracts public attention, regardless of how much information is shown. As a result, neither side appeared ready to change its position. Then another challenge emerged. The statement arrived just as online discussion surrounding the birthday photos was reaching its highest level of attention. Rather than ending the conversation, it brought even more focus to it. Articles began appearing across multiple outlets. Commentators started breaking down individual parts of the statement. Social media users debated whether the explanation was reasonable, effective, or incomplete. Before long, the discussion surrounding the photos had expanded into a much larger conversation about privacy in the digital age. What does privacy really mean for public figures? Can someone share selected moments from family life while still maintaining strong personal boundaries? Or does every post naturally generate additional public interest? Those questions quickly moved to the center of the conversation. Supporters argued that Meghan has every right to share personal moments on her own terms.
This poor girl is going to be exploited while her mother claims she's being protected.
Critics maintain that the latest statement did not fully address concerns they had been raising for months. Perhaps most importantly, the response highlighted something else. It showed just how much attention the story had attracted. After all, public figures do not often issue detailed explanations unless a topic has become a major focus of public discussion. And by this point, the attention surrounding the story was impossible to ignore.
Meghan is trying to use her children in a way that is not honest. She is trying to represent something that is clearly being manipulated. And you know, that's what people resent. It's like, just be real.
What began as a birthday post had transformed into a major talking point across news outlets and social media. The photos sparked discussion, the comparisons fueled debate, and the official response created an entirely new wave of conversation. But the reactions didn't stop there. Some of the strongest responses were still ahead, including comments from media personalities and observers who questioned whether the explanation had fully addressed the concerns being discussed online. Those reactions pushed the story even further into the spotlight. If Meghan's team hoped the statement would calm the discussion, that doesn't appear to be what happened. Instead, the conversation continued gaining momentum. Some of the most widely discussed reactions came not from anonymous social media accounts, but from commentators and public figures who examined whether Meghan's explanation answered the questions many people were asking.
I call bullshit on this. The woman is a hypocrite, and the release of this statement, this angry statement, on Lily's 5th birthday shows that Meghan is finally feeling the heat over her rank hypocrisy.
One of the most frequently cited responses came from brand and culture commentator Nick Eade, who reportedly suggested that the issue extended beyond privacy alone. According to his comments, the timing of Meghan's messaging was one of the most noticeable aspects of the situation. Critics pointed to the fact that Meghan had recently spoken publicly about online safety while continuing to share family-related content through social media platforms. For those critics, that contrast became the center of the discussion, and the debate wasn't limited to royal coverage. The topic also spread into broader media conversations, where writers and commentators discussed whether concealing identifying details automatically creates privacy.
And another point that I wanted to make is just the grooming in general. You know, you're trying to protect your children, but you're putting them out there, and then you're not even grooming them properly. Like, you never see the little girl in proper ponytails with her hair, you know, like as if Meghan put time into the child.
Some argued that sharing family-related images can still attract significant public attention, even when certain details are limited. Others disagreed and maintained that parents should have complete control over how much of their family life they choose to share online. As a result, the discussion evolved into something much larger than a disagreement about a single birthday post. It became part of a wider conversation about social media, public life, family privacy, and where personal boundaries should be drawn. Meanwhile, another aspect of the birthday photos started drawing attention: Some publications discussed accessories and clothing visible in the images, including jewelry that some observers felt appeared similar to styles Meghan has worn in the past. While there is nothing unusual about family members sharing similar fashion preferences, the discussion added another layer to an already expanding story. Suddenly, every detail seemed to be under the microscope. The photos, the styling, the captions, the timing, even the official response. Everything was being discussed and analyzed.
At 1 a.m. Los Angeles time, here was the Instagram post. Our dream girl, happy 5th birthday, Lil. And I have to be honest, the mainstream media was totally buying this. The Sun, Meghan shares adorable picture with smiling Prince Harry and Lilibet to celebrate daughter's 5th birthday. But there was nothing adorable about this. What it is a hypocritical money play.
And that may be one of the biggest takeaways from this entire situation. Whether people support Meghan or disagree with her approach, there's no denying that family-related content connected to the Sussex family continues to generate enormous public interest. In many ways, the reaction to the birthday photos highlights just how closely the family remains, followed by both supporters and critics. A simple birthday tribute became a story that lasted for days. Online comparisons led to widespread discussion. An official statement sparked another round of reactions. And commentators continued weighing in long after the original photos were shared. For now, Meghan appears to be standing by her approach as the conversation continues. The statement released on Meghan's behalf made it clear that she believes family moments can be shared while still maintaining privacy and personal boundaries. However, not everyone agrees with that perspective. And based on the reaction to these latest photos, the discussion doesn't appear to be slowing down anytime soon. Because the next time Meghan shares family-related content online, one thing seems almost certain.
But what I found fascinating is that even the article from Emily Barak, who is like the new Omid Scobie, still made the point, this is in Town and Country, that the majority of Meghan's posts on Instagram this year have featured her children. The majority.
People will be paying close attention, discussing the details, and continuing the broader conversation surrounding privacy and public life. So what do you think? Are some people reading too much into these photos? Or do you believe the larger discussion about privacy and social media is worth having? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy following royal headlines, trending stories, and major developments, make sure to subscribe to Hollywood Yesterday. We bring you new updates and coverage every day, so you never miss what's making news. Also, check out the videos on your screen right now for more stories and discussions involving the royal family. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and share it with other royal news followers. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.